Never mind. Maybe we'll start with the introductions while he.
Yeah, we'll start the introductions. Okay, so I'm from the Tropical Research and Conservation Center up in Borneo. And today we're going to have a panel about volunteering in Malaysia. So I've brought along 4 experts in the field that are connected to a project, whether it's, thank you. 4 of the other projects that we have in Malaysia, so 5 of us in total. And we're just going to have some short introductions. So my name is Robin. I've been with Trek for the past 7 years. I've been in Malaysia for the past 9 years. And our organization is completely volunteer funded, and we are focusing on coral restoration, turtle facial identification, research, and on top of that we are having a lot of volunteers. So we have volunteers that are joining us every day for the coral planting, restoring, because on Pom Pom Island, unfortunately due to historical fish bombing, we need to restore the reefs that are around there. But I won't take up any more time, so I'll move first to Hidayah. Hidayah, you want to introduce yourself a little bit and what you do?
Okay, so hello everyone. So my name is Hidayah. So I'm from Perhentian Island. So my station is a Perhentian Marine Research Station. So I've been working there on the island for the past 6 years, living on the islands, understanding the ecosystems over there, and dealing with, involving with the communities of the island itself. So what we are doing on the station is that trying to monitor the health of marine ecosystems in Perhentian, how rich the ecosystem they are. So we have a seagrass bed, we do have a rich marine ecosystems over there, and also trying to empowering the local community to get involved in marine ecosystems on the island. So and then try to understand what is suitable for the Perhentian itself. So yeah, so there's a short introduction
fantastic.
from us.
Yeah, thanks. All right, Char, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself as well.
Hello everyone, my name is Sharnita Ratnam. I'm from the Juara Turtle Project. I've been working there from last year, and this project has been operating since 2006, and we are running turtle conservation program, volunteering program, recycling program, and also outreach and education program. And I'm here to promote about the volunteering program because of we are a project that is run by 4 women, so we need a lot of support from you.
Yeah, good on you. That's the best way, right? It's the same as in Trek, actually. The majority, I'm one of the only males in the whole organization. All right, so Ayman, would you mind introducing yourself as well, please?
Sure, thanks Robin. Hi everyone, good evening. Alright, so my name is Aiman. Alright, so I am a conservation officer from Tengah Island Conservation. And I think, Robin, it is important for me to make a disclaimer. Alright, because Pulau Tengah and Lang Tengah is definitely like 2 different places. It's not just 2 different places, it is located at 2 different states. Alright, so Lang Tengah is located in Terengganu, whereby Pulau Tengah is located in Johor. Alright, so Tengah Island Conservation, alright, is a society registered with ROS Johor. So, and we are the only NGO who are locally registered to do a turtle conservation. And our projects is ranging from sea turtle, marine, terrestrial, outreach, as well as our recent pillar, which is a waste management project.
Yeah, fantastic. Very excited to hear more about that. Alvin, Big Boss, can you explain what you do?
Hi everyone. I work with Reef Check Malaysia, and basically we are working towards sustainably managed marine ecosystems. So coral reefs, seagrasses, and mangroves. We monitor their health, and then we work towards conserving them with the local communities especially.
Fantastic. All right, so the most important is what we are going to be talking about today is volunteering within Malaysia. So these organizations that have been invited today are all based in different parts. So we've got it all the way up north. We've got, of course, Perhentian, then we've got Tioman, then Malaysia basically all together, and then we've got in Terengganu, right?
Johor. Come on, Robin.
Joking, okay.
Yeah.
So, often, and of course, Trek, we are based in Sabah, so we're the only organization that's here today from East Malaysia. We don't have anyone present from Sarawak, but the rest of Malaysia we've got covered in the panel today. What we want to talk about today is to discuss about all of the projects that are everywhere around and what it is like to be a volunteer, what volunteering actually means, how it is that you could get involved and any questions or misconceptions that there might be. And then we have the experts here that can elaborate a lot more on this. So, Alvin, I want to start with you, if that's okay. Can you please explain to me, like for everyone there, what it means volunteering? What is that for you? How do you see that?
Okay, so to me, volunteering is basically individuals sacrificing their time, their money, their energy, effort to come out and do something that doesn't really benefit them directly. They're doing it for somebody else, or in this case, might be the environment, the turtle, right? So they are giving up something of their own to benefit something that's not themselves. So to me, that's the main concept of volunteering.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So, Ayman, when we are talking about volunteering, one of the most questions that we get asked is, okay, why does it cost money? I think especially for us marine conservation, there is a lot involved with that. Could you highlight why there is some cost involved with volunteering and what is that misconception where that is originating from?
All right, thanks, Robin. Yeah, it is understandable. And most frequent question I've been asked, why they have to pay for getting into a volunteer program. Even though, like just Alvin mentioned before, right, they are sacrificing their energy, their time, and somehow they have to like pay. So let's imagine that you are going to tuitions. So you have to pay if you are enrolling in a tuition class. So just imagine if you are joining a volunteer program, somehow you are enrolling into an outdoor class. So you are basically joined who are conservationists, who are experts in their field. Alright, so we already like learn, somehow we spending our time to teaching you. So we just like charging you at a minimum rate so that we as an NGO are not making profit out of it. It's just that to sustain or to make sure that the project can be continued as far and as long as it can be.
Yeah, well, very clear. And I think just to add on to that as well, to give an idea, like all of these islands are based quite far offshore. Same as for Trek, we're 35 kilometers away from shore. We do 2 dives a day with boats, with engines, etc. And all of these things, there is a lot of cost. Like I think everyone here, you've been looking around maybe at gear, looking at some trips. Like unfortunately, all of this, it costs money. But none of us would actually want to make money from this, right? I think, is there anyone here in it for the money? Maybe. There's no money to be made in conservation, and unfortunately, like we make a lot of sacrifice and dedication for what we do, and we would like to have other people as well to have a small dedication with it. Because for Trek, for example, we are completely volunteer funded, which means that without the contribution of a volunteer, we are not able to do the operations that we are doing completely. Does anyone else want to elaborate a bit more from their perspective on that?
Yeah, if I may add, all right.
Sure.
So why we do cost money? Because somehow when you pay, basically for TIC specifically, when you pay for your volunteer registrations, everything is included, all right. So we covered you from the nursing transfer to the islands, all right. Be it your accommodation, your meals, and some more. Just like what Robin mentioned, you will be experienced an unlimited dive. So I'm not saying that unlimited a leisure dive, but basically you are diving for a cause. Basically, you are giving back to nature.
Yeah, perfect. And I think that's where we come into play as well with you, Shao. Being with 4 people onto our turtle project. Can you explain why it is so important to have volunteers?
So we are operating a conservation base with only 4 girls. And imagine we have to do volunteering, we have to manage all the volunteers, and we also have to do recycling, which means we have to do the collection by ourselves. We have to bring in the trash into our center, we have to sort it out, we have to process it, we have to make it into something nice to sell. So we need a lot of energy for it to be continued. And other than that, we also need much more energy to continue doing the turtle project, as we have to patrol the beach by ourselves. We have a beach the beach is around 1 to 2 kilometers long. So we are walking on the beach to patrol the turtles every night. It's not only once a night, it's like 4 times a night. So we need people to help us to do it. Without people's help, we cannot run this project for sure. And other than patrolling, we're also doing turtle photo ID. we are going into the water and taking picture of the turtle and coming back to ID them. So to do this, we need more manpower to help us with this kind of project. And other than that, we have another big thing going on, that is the outreach and education program, where we have to give talk to 100 to 200 kids per week. So to do all of this from March to October, we definitely need a lot of volunteers. Yeah.
Yeah, and does anyone else want to elaborate more on like why you need staff? Like Alvin, maybe you're a good
Yeah.
person to step in on that.
Yeah, I'll add to that, like what Shahji said. For example, Reef Check, we cover around 330 sites around the country. One survey takes 5 people, and we've got 20 staff, right? So it's impossible for us to cover these sites if we didn't have volunteers. And to show you how powerful the volunteers are, I'll tell you that no other government agency or even university is able to cover such a large area on an annual basis. And the only reason we can do it is because of the volunteers that join us, right? If not, those surveys, 330 sites, impossible.
Yeah, and this is valuable data, of course. We'll get back more on that. For you then, indeed, Hidayah, do you want to elaborate a little bit on why, you know, the conservation and the volunteering, how that contributes to the science that you guys are doing, and what that means to you?
Yeah, so thank you for the question. So to add on, like I will agree with Alvin. So Alvin is covering the whole Malaysia. So even me in the small scale, which is Perhentian Islands, we do have more than 20 dive sites to do all the assessments, to see how good the ecosystem is. So it takes a lot of manpower and also the cost, obviously, for diving, boats, even like we are hiring local community as our boatmen, and then we also have local youth as our assessor, surveyor. So this is kind of like providing the opportunity for them as well. So it's not necessary for the conservation project itself, but it's also providing livelihood for the community. So that's why the costing is coming in, the manpower is coming in. So yeah, we also have like 3 staff for one project, for one station, to cover the whole 20 site. Doing different survey is quite impossible. Even more for the reef check, which is 300 site.
Yeah, Reef Check is covering the whole of Malaysia, of course. And I think when we look at the data that's being collected, with that many sites, especially like 300 something you were mentioning, that's an incredible amount of data that you get. Like, what happens with the data?
Okay, so that's a very good question. What happens to the data, right? So the reason for all this data collection is basically to make sure that people in power, reef managers, the government, they can make informed decisions when they need to, and it's not just randomly taking action, yeah? So for us, the data that we collect, it gets fed back to the different reef managers like the Department of Fisheries, Sabah Parks, Sarawak State Forestry, and then it also gets shared with the different marine universities, so UMT, UMS, UKM, UM, but it also gets shared to the Global Coral Reef Monitoring Network, which is looking at the whole worldwide scale status of coral reefs. And you know, the hope is that when it comes time to make a decision, it's based on proper data and proper science. And again, if you look at the people sitting up here today, for example, I know you guys collect data on crown of thorns, on the eggs, on their reproduction cycle. And again, no one else is doing that at a scale that you all are doing, right? Again, I think if Perhentian and Juara Turtle Project, when it comes to turtles, if anyone's going to want to know which beaches are the turtles coming on nesting, how many eggs were laid last year, how many hatched, these are all very important information that nobody else is collecting. So if JTP closed down tomorrow, for example, right, we wouldn't know what's going on with the turtles on Tioman. So even for myself, like if I need anything about turtles, like JTP, right? So this information, it's very important, because if not, then we are just guessing in the dark.
And the vital part here is that we cannot do it without volunteers.
Yeah, I agree. Well, at least for Reef Check, we definitely would not be able to collect all that data without volunteers.
Yeah. So, Shah, maybe for you, when you look at the project and the volunteers, how is their involvement really so crucial for you guys to collect this data? Because every night you guys are doing patrolling from 9 to 12, 12
9
to
to 12,
3.
12 to 3, 3 to 6, and then 7 for boat patrol.
So that's 3 times a night.
3 times a night and 1 in the morning.
Yeah. So if you were to have to do that with 4 people the whole time, right? Would you be able to collect any of the data?
We usually collect data on the turtles, the mother turtles, which the other projects are rarely doing because they have more turtles and we have lesser turtles that we have this opportunity to do this kind of data collection. We can directly study the behavior of turtles. So that is what we are specializing at now. We are attending all the turtles that are nesting at our beach and we can know each one of their behaviors, what time they are coming, how long they're going to take, and do they come today and lay egg today itself or they are just landing. We know this kind of data. And to do all this, we definitely need volunteers because we cannot patrol all night long from 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning. And then at 8 a.m., the students arrive until 5 p.m. So
Yeah, that's nearly impossible. So Shah was saying before that she does up to 6 talks, educational talks to kids, to students, every day. You can only imagine if you're up from 9 to 12 or the whole night and collecting eggs, and then you also need to face kids 6 times a day. How many students do you get a day, ish?
per week, we get around 100 to 200 kids.
That's a lot of kids.
That's a lot of kids.
Yeah. Okay, so for the volunteers there is really actively with the turtle, the patrolling, etc. How is it for you on Parentian? How does a day in the life of a volunteer looks like for you?
Okay, so for us with the station, so like the minimum stay for the divers will be like 1 week. And then week 1 is always about learning. So like most of the volunteers, they came in whether with backgrounds or no backgrounds, especially for the new divers, because we also receive non-diver to complete their dive courses and then coming in diving with us. So it's kind of like start with the zero involvement in marine conservations, but we do have like a learning process, theoretical sessions and practical session, 7 dive per week. So just covering the all information that they need, for example, like coral ID, fish ID, understanding the functions of each marine species, especially the key indicator species. And then moving forward from the week 1 will be like practically doing the assessments, data analysis, data collections, like how do you always see like a surveyor, even the researcher come up with the slate underwater, writing things down. So we do a practicing on that, laying the transact. So like it's a new experience somehow for the divers where they used to fun diving all the time, just leisurely diving, cruising on the reef, but now they really have to focus on what is this basically underneath them. So it's like understanding, what is this? Is this coral? Is not coral? It can be very confusing.
Yes, exactly. And it's basically, it's like diving with purpose, right?
Yeah, kind of.
So we find that a lot as well at track, that people have been diving for years and they've been going to all of these different places and they love it. But then the next step is like, okay, I've seen all of the mantas, I've seen all of the whale sharks, I've been all around, and then there's like, okay, what can I do to do something back? So at Trek, we have divers that do 2 dives a day, 2 dives a day, which is in the morning, which is in the afternoon, and then after that, the data entry starts and the collection and such. Data entry, which is fun. And I want to highlight one of the things for what I find very important, and anyone that's been to Trek before knows this as well. Yes, when the time is there, when we need to collect data and when we need to be serious, we're serious. But as soon as that stops and it's like 5 p.m., then we also like to have a little bit of fun. So at the end of the day, it's work hard, play hard. Like we want to work hard when it's necessary, but it needs to be fun at the end of the day as well. Iman, do you want to explain a little bit about how it is as a volunteer with TIC?
All right, thanks, Robin. All right. So the day as a volunteer in Tengah Island Conservation, all right. So I would say like our working hours is quite flexible, but generally start around 7 a.m. where the person on duty, the volunteer or the interns on duty are going out for boat patrol, and we are not only covering Pulau Tengah, but we as well covering all 7 islands that are surrounding Pulau Tengah. So whenever we have like a turtle activity, be it like a false crawl, or abandoned attempt, and even if we have a nest, so definitely we try to relocate the nest back to our hatchery in Pulau Tengah. And a volunteer will be experiencing all this stuff. So if we went back for boat patrol and there is no turtle activity, definitely we will continue with the dive survey if the water and the weather permits. And we are not like Alvin's. Alvin have like 300 plus sites, alright, which is like enormous. Okay, so but in Mersing Islands, we only have like a 64 sites for coral reef survey, and we have around like 16 altogether for the seagrass survey. And without volunteers, again, definitely it is impossible for me and my colleague, two of us, to get these things done. Alright, and it goes around until like 5 p.m. in the evening. And whenever we expect a mother turtle coming to nest, or even we are expecting any nests that are hatching, so definitely we will like schedule a rotation on a rotating basis. So the person, the volunteer or the interns will be like going to the hatchery, check the nest whether it's already like pop out or emerge or resurface. Alright, and then if the hatchling is not like coming out at 9 p.m., just like Shanita, we have a sleepless night going back and forth to the hatchery. And definitely we are, as I say, we are a bit flexible. So in the morning you will have to compensate a bit your sleep time.
Yeah, 100%. Because and then at track we have the the weird luxury that we are only having 2.3 kilometers circumference, but we do around about anywhere between 100 to 300 nests a year. So you can imagine the sleepless nights that the volunteers, and especially for us in Sabah, because it's a bit different, right? In Sabah we are not allowed to touch turtles. We're not allowed to even, sometimes even take a photo of a dead turtle if there is anything that's wrong with it. So in Sabah, you need to have Sabah Wildlife Rangers. So trained by the Sabah Wildlife Department, and they're the only ones that are allowed to touch the eggs. So they are the only ones that are able to assist with that as well. So we need the volunteers to be there, be around, and to make sure that it's all being done. And then we can have the other guys coming in to actively relocate the eggs. Elvin, I want to ask you a question though, because Reef Check is something that's so widely available, and there's 300 plus sites that you guys are doing. How is it like to do a day with Reef Check as a volunteer?
Okay, so we mainly use our volunteers for the survey programs, right? And these are basically done over a 3-day weekend. So they would come in on a Friday, we'll do surveys on the Friday evening, afternoon, and then Saturday, whole day of surveys, and then Sunday they usually travel back home. So it's purposely catered to suit people that are working, that can't give up 1 month of their time or a week of their time, so they don't have to take too much leave off. It's work, right? So because it's short, it's work. When they come, it's not a leisure dive, it's not a fun dive trip, it's work. So they come and it's hardcore in the morning and in the day, but like Robin said, at night, you chill, you meet others. And it's very interesting because a lot of our volunteers end up making very close friends. And we see that like even after that, even outside the Reef Check surveys, they meet at these trips, but then they end up being very close friends because they are like-minded people, they love the environment, it's different conversation. It's not like, oh, let me see your photo. Oh, I got a nice photo. It's more like, what do you think about that reef? It's nice. It's just finding groups that are similar interests,
Yeah, it's like finding your tribe in a way.
Pardon?
It's like finding your tribe.
Yeah, exactly.
Like everyone
it's like
is there.
finding a new tribe. Cool. Yeah, correct.
It's the same, like we've just been sitting here. Just before we went on stage, we had a quick conversation with the 5 of us, and it's so nice. And I really want to thank media again for providing us with the stage of being with 5 conservation organizations next to each other, because we're busy. This is the only time of year that we are able to see each other and we can share thoughts. We had the conversation about the fungus in the turtle nests, and about what we should do with data. And this is the time that we are able to get together. So I really want to thank Ness for providing us with this stage. I want to open it up actually to the public as well. So who in the audience has ever volunteered? Can I see some hands? I know that you volunteered for sure. So, no one? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's a few shy people, but the hands are actually there. I know that these people have volunteered. So the main thing that for us at Track, we are having a lot of international volunteers. And of course there's a part of that there's the time constraint for Malaysians that we don't have as much time. But there was, interestingly enough, for Perhentian Marine Sea Research Station, you've seen since COVID a big influx of the Malaysian volunteers, right?
Yep. So back then in 2019, so I will say like 80%, even 90% of our volunteers is coming from international volunteers, most likely from UK and Europe. So once COVID happened, so we start seeing the changes in terms when the season started back in 2022, when the tourism is opening back. So we start receiving more Malaysian, so which is like the young generations of Malaysians is more aware of like a marine ecosystem, the awareness on marine conservations, and they're trying to like having some insights of how to contribute back. So like after their diving, like I said, what is next after fun dive? So they're finding more opportunities on that. So we have like now like a 50-50 of our volunteers occupancy, Malaysians and international.
Yeah. And does any one of you else see the increase of volunteers, like the Malaysian volunteers actually participating?
So yeah, for the IC, alright. So before COVID, we are quite common to have like a foreign volunteer. But after COVID, after we restructured some volunteer programs, but still we couldn't like accommodate all those short-term volunteer. But given that we allocate like 2 months, there is still like a Malaysians volunteer, and especially 4 of them. I'm not sure why they are shy to raise up their hand. So they are volunteer with us, and they are among the first 4 Malaysians. Alright, so who are coming volunteer with us, and this year we have like another 2 more for current pace, and then we are expecting more. And it is like a very positive growth from the Malaysian itself. Because before this, as I said, when it comes to volunteer, they're always like a bit skeptical. Why do I need to pay? But I think the awareness is there, and they are becoming more aware, and they are willingly to pay to get all this experience.
Yeah. So when we are talking about the fact that people have to pay to volunteer, how much of your funding is coming from volunteer income sources, from people that are actually paying to come and join your project? So for track, for example, we do, for us it's 100%. We had a grant for the first time like 2 years ago, but up until that point, and even now, it's 100% volunteer funded. How much of your guys' funding is coming from people that are actually paying to come and volunteer with you guys, Hadia?
Okay, so for PMRS, as we are under a social enterprise called Physicotier, so we do receive funding. We got like some funding coming in from our tourism product somewhere else, and then volunteering program plays a big role in terms of I think kind of like a 50% of our funding is coming from the volunteering program, especially allowing us to visit all the dive sites around Perhentian. So that is the main ones that we are covering from the volunteering. It's like a diving expenses.
Yeah. All right, and for you, Shar?
For us, it could be more than 70% of our profit is coming from, funding is coming from the volunteers. Rest 30 is mostly from schools and also group programs. We also accommodate group programs for universities, so that's where we get our fundings from.
Yeah, okay, thanks. And for you, Ayman, like...
So Tengah Island Conservation, we are supported by restricted grants and also unrestricted donation. So all those volunteer charges comes under like unrestricted donations, and this allowing us to welcome more interns from the local university.
Gotcha.
So that's how we circling the registration fees.
Okay, and for you, Alvin, because you guys actually work with grants, and you do accept a lot of grants, because the volunteers are actually not paying to do any of the reef check surveys, correct?
Yes, correct. So for the reef check survey program, the volunteers don't pay for the dives, but they're still covering their own accommodation while they're on the island. They're still covering their own food, their own travel to the island, you know. So in that sense, they're still helping to cover that cost of that survey. So even though they don't pay for the diving, they're still having to cover all these other costs, which if not, we would have to fork out.
Yeah, it's good to know that like there is that kind of sponsorship as well going. Like, does any of you guys have any association with a dive center that helps out as well?
Yeah, so like for us, when we do these surveys, in certain locations around the country, the dive center does say, you know what, I will cover the accommodation and the diving for you all to do the survey. In some places, it's like the dive center will provide the boat. Some cases, it's the tank. Some cases, it's a big discount. So we are seeing more dive centers wanting to contribute to this and chip into helping reduce the cost.
Sure.
For us, the neighboring dive shops are helping us a lot because we don't have a coral officers to do coral rehabilitation. So the neighboring dives like JSA and Barat Dive are helping us a lot to do the deploying of the coral blocks. And also, whenever they see a turtle, they also give us the data. When there is a dead turtle, they voluntarily bring it up to us and they help in this is a very big help because we need to do necropsy for the turtles to find out the cause of that and so on.
Okay, fantastic. And for you, Ayman, you're also connected with, or you were connected, I think, with Batu.
Yes, so we are based on the Pulau Tengah. So Pulau Tengah is a semi-private islands where only two organizations, which is one is a Batu Resort, and the other one is Tengah Island Conservation. And even though we are not like working together with their dive team, but Batu Resort like supporting us in terms of like providing the facilities, be it like the tanks, the advice, and as well as the compressor, because that is the big deal when it comes to survey. If without tanks, definitely you are not be able to go underwater. And I'm like super blessed, and Tengah Island Conservation is like super blessed because Batu Resort is like fully support on our conservation projects.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And for you guys on Perhentian?
So in Perhentian, by now the stakeholders around Perhentian is very cooperative, especially the dive shops. So like they do likes the ideas of having local community. So most likely we got like a discounted courses lah, PADI dive courses, and then even the tank refills. Like our station, we do have our own tanks, but to the refilling the tanks and the storage the tanks, so we do have like a cosmic divers assisting, and then there are some courses with most of the dive shops so far. So like what I did is like going to the Long Beach. Whoever have been in Perhentian, so Long Beach is kind of like very populated with the dive shop. So it's like all from the end to the end. So like having them supporting in terms of providing free consultation for Anak Pulau. So they're very supporting of Anak Pulau program, which is the local community program that we have. And then they're also providing like a discounted prices for the courses for Anak Pulau especially. So that is kind of like helping us getting more networking and also reducing the cost in one way.
Ah, fantastic. It's good to hear that there is that support out there. So when we are looking at the projects that we have here, so for track, if you are an experienced diver and you've got advanced or above or whatsoever, the minimum duration for us is 1 week. But if you're not a diver yet, it's 2 weeks. And then the training we provide basically from beginning to end so that you can directly help with any of the science. How is it for you guys with your projects? Like, what is the minimum requirement for anyone that would like to join? What is the duration that they have to come to join? Shar?
So the minimum requirement is you have to be fit enough to walk 1 to 2 kilometers every day at night. So that is the minimum requirement that we need. Other than that, you don't have much. You just have to be healthy enough.
And the minimum duration?
Okay. The minimum duration is 7 days, 6 nights. Maximum can be 1 year, 2 years, up to you.
Nice. Ayman?
So our minimums, alright, so you have to like spend or allocate your times around 2 months. Alright, if you are like not satisfied, there is a possibility of you extending your period there.
Okay, and Hadia?
So for us, minimum stay is 1 week for diver. For non-diver is minimum 2 weeks. So 1 week for courses, or for the course, and then another week is diving with us. So 1 week and 2 weeks for non-diver.
Nice. Sir Elvin?
Okay, so we are a bit more picky, sorry. But because we are using volunteers to collect data, which is then going to be used, by all these different government agencies and whatnot, firstly, we only take scuba divers. Secondly, they have to be fairly experienced, so minimum of 25 log dives before you can even sign up for the course. And then we will do an assessment in the pool to see if your buoyancy is good enough, because you need really good buoyancy to get close to the reef when you're doing the monitoring. And then if your buoyancy is good enough, you go on for the course, you do a training. There's 3 exams. You can pass the exam. If you pass the exams, then you can join the surveys the following year. I know, I'm sorry, right? So, but that's how it works, yeah? So you do the course this year, you pass, and then following year, you can start joining on the surveys.
Yeah, so we really see like a bit of a different approach in all different organizations.
Yes,
so
correct.
no matter what kind of like level you have, you can contribute directly to science. So we've got about another 10 minutes or so left. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to ask a question, that would be interested to know anything of any of the people here in the panel? Raise a hand. No? Okay, well, if we don't have any questions, then we'll just continue with it. Let's see, when we are, like, if people are not able to come, because people are not asking questions, so maybe they're not very interested in coming to join us, could be, and maybe they don't have the time. How can people contribute to any of your organizations if they are not able to come out and physically come and volunteer? Because there must be other ways as well that people can help with your organizations. Ayman?
So if you don't have a privilege of time to come and join us for volunteer programs, so definitely there is other way. And by following on Instagram and spread the awareness. And also we have like a nest adoption program. It does not necessarily to be on the island to adopt a nest, but you can just shoot us an email that you are interested to adopt a nest. Definitely we can arrange something, yeah.
Okay, for any of the other guys?
You can definitely do some fundraising, and we need donations from everyone to keep running this project. So even if you can give your time, you can give your financial support. And other than that, we also have some adoption program. We have nest adoption, we have hatchling adoption, we also have wild sea turtle adoption. Each of it is different prices, different price range, so that everyone can give your support. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, kind of the same.
For you guys, just the same?
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of the same. Coming is either not coming in, but having the awareness on the marine ecosystem is really helpful in one way, because whenever you go diving elsewhere, you will always you will always be aware of what you are doing underwater. So yeah, so kind of the same, like fundraising, supporting us in terms of the financial means is also helping.
Okay, fantastic. Alvin?
So yeah, definitely. If you can't come to the island, or if you're not a diver, you know, there's always a way you can help. And we've had a lot of people help us. For example, you might have other skills. You might be really good in designing, and you can help create education and awareness posters for us, which we've had people contact and say like, hey, I'm a multimedia student, can I make some posters for you? And I'm like, yes, please, thank you very much, you know. I've also had people, for example, even like you, Robin, last year when we were doing the whole airport campaign, and you're like, bro, your social media skill sucks. Give me the photo and I'll make a better post, right? But that's true, because I'm old school, yeah, but we have had people contact us and say like, hey, can we make a video for you? And I'm like, yes, thank you very much. And they're like, give me the raw footages and I'll put it together, I'll edit it, I'll make it nice. And that actually goes a long way. Very often, we are very stretched for time. I would love to sit down and edit a video and learn how to Photoshop and all that. I'm lying, but yeah, you know, but I can't do it. But we have people out there who are so skilled and so good at this. And even like David sitting right in front there, right? He came over and took photos for us of the site where the airport was going to be built. And that made such a huge visual impact, you know? So there's always a skill out there that you could help with. So just offer it, get in touch, tell them what you're good at, and we will definitely find a way to make you go to work.
And I think it's a very good point that you marked there. Even if you can't help in that kind of sense, there's so much else that you can do. When we're talking about, for example, Tioman Island, the power of social media nowadays is absolutely stunning. It's insane. Every one of you guys has got Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I don't know what else there is nowadays as well, but there's other platforms, and that is the power as well, the power of sharing. The whole reason why a big part of it is, for example, with Tioman, why it got stopped, is because there's people like yourselves, even if you can't contribute in the fact of, okay, I can't come and volunteer, I can't make a monetary donation, you can still share stuff, and that goes a long way. Because if everyone here that's now in the audience, let's say there's about 40 people that are sitting here, if everyone has 100 followers, that's a big reach that we get all of a sudden. So and that's really like a big part what now is with social media, like especially when there are some organizations that are really making it like sexy to do conservation. And as much as you would hate it, it works because it's the reach of social media. And at the end of the day, that's when we get people involved. You can't protect what you don't love. And the only way that people can protecting it is by all you guys as well to share this kind of stuff. So we've got a couple of minutes left. I'd like to give you all like a minute or so to make a closing statement on what's going on. Oh,
Robin,
sorry,
I think one of the audience have like something to ask.
Yes.
Hi, my name is David Lowe. I was going to ask you, but Alvin has really answered that. So my question basically is, how do you reach out? Because for me, like this is the first time I'm attending this, and I'm invited, and then this is the first time I'm, finding out about all this conservation, and here I am trying to help. When we came to Tioman, we wanted to help Tioman by promoting it, coming out with a book. I'm a publisher, and we have a very interesting business model where we work with our partners to produce the book so that it's a win-win-win where everyone can benefit. So I would like to speak to all of you later and see how we can contribute.
So for anyone, we've got our booths here on the left side. We've got a nice conservation pavilion. So there's all 5 of us that are right there. We're still here until 7. Until 7 o'clock is when we have everyone here. But for anyone, reach out, follow us on Instagram. Could you all like make a small closing statement and maybe mention where they can follow Reef Check, for example, and what kind of Reef Check or any of the organizations? Alvin?
I would say get in touch. If you're interested in this kind of thing, just get in touch, say hi, and you can get in touch by finding us on social media. It's just Reef Check Malaysia on all the different platforms. Yeah.
Okay, Ayman?
So yeah, if you wanted to learn more about Tengah Island Conservation, you can like visit our website at www.tengahislandconservation.org. Or if you wish to know about our latest update, you may follow us on Instagram, Facebook, as well as other platforms.
For Juara Turtle Project, you can also follow us on our Instagram. We are very active. You can see our volunteer program, what kind of fun we are having. It's at Juara Turtle Project on Instagram. And also we have website for you to inquire about it, www.juaraturtleproject.com.
Okay, so for PMRS, we are actively available on Instagram. So just visit our Instagram, perhentian_marine_research, and then more information will be is available on our website, www.marineresearchstations.org, and then most of our information on activities and the research that we are doing available there.
Okay, and for Track, it's exactly the same thing. It's at Track Borneo. We're very active on Instagram. We post a lot about all the stuff that we do, about the coral planting, etc. And there's a lot of updates that are happening now as well. As a small closing remark, I do want to say, because we see a lot of bleaching around, and everyone who's been talking to any of the dive operators, there is a lot of bleaching going around. But as a takeaway message, and I think we discussed it yesterday as well, don't give up hope, right? Like there is still the opportunity to go and do these things, even if it's not with marine conservation, even if it's other factors. Like there is still a chance that we can do things actually positive, turn things around. Don't think that it's all doom and gloom just because there's some bleaching going around. Corals are very resilient, but we do have to all make our part to make sure that this is going to move forward in a positive way. Anyone else wants to add anything to it? Like we've got another 2 minutes to close.
Yeah, I wanted to ask my last message, takeaway message. All right, I would say like nature has a considerable, resilience, but it has a limit how far it can stretch. All right, and no one knows how close we are getting to the limit. All right, as I'm always saying, if not now, when? If not us, then who? So take the action now. All right, so instead of okay, later we are going to do it. Later we're going to do it. Take the first step, and then everything will be smoothly going on.
Fantastic. All right. You want to add something?
I would like to add something about traveling. When you guys are traveling to an island or scuba diving or anything, please be a responsible traveler. Don't make more rubbish. Whatever you bring in, bring it out. And you also have to be responsible when you are swimming. Don't kick the corals. They are already bleaching, and we are breaking them. They are dying. So yeah, please be responsible about it.
All right. I would like to thank you all very much for being part of this panel. It's always a joy to see you guys at the expos. Once a year, right? Twice a year. And then I would like to invite everyone else as well. Come visit us at the booths. Come visit us and have a chat with us. Figure out more what we are doing, about the projects that we have, what we have going on. And if anyone is interested, later at 5:30, I'll be giving a presentation on reverse engineering 3D printed reefs, on how we're going to use modern technology to try and rebuild Pom Pom Island. So if anyone is interested, please come and follow. And else, thank you very much. And enjoy the rest of your midday.